Hey, y'all, it's time to wake up. This is Steve Hood. It's an amazing day in Detroit. We already had the interview I have coming up scheduled, but we've got to talk about, before it even starts, the release on Kwame Kilpatrick. The information that we have so far is that this is a Bureau of Prisons move completely. The judiciary was not involved in this move whatsoever, in this release whatsoever. It's a Bureau of Prisons move to ease the congestion in the prison. Mr. Kilpatrick's cellmate evidently passed from COVID-19. So this is a safety move. We're told that one of his family members went and picked him up from prison, took him to Atlanta, Georgia, where he will be quarantined, and then he will be placed on tether in Atlanta. It's not clear right now whether there's any travel restrictions on that tether. But you got to remember, since the judiciary was not involved, there was no talk about releasing that, shall we say, duty to pay restitution, which is a whole lot of money. So this is a Bureau of Prisons move. Now people say, oh, he's coming back here, he's coming back here. I don't know that, but you got to remember, we're in a different world now. We're in a world that's controlled by the internet. And, you know, whether he's on house arrest in Atlanta or on a tether in Atlanta or anywhere, he can be everywhere. I mean, theoretically, he could start a church right there. Theoretically, he could do that. Theoretically, he could influence elections here in Detroit very, very, very seriously, because he has a whole lot of supporters and his words mean a lot. So it actually could cause a big shift in Detroit politics. Cause a very, very big shift in Detroit politics. It's a groundbreaking move, okay, because he is free. He is not going to be confined by the prison rules of not being able to touch the internet. So he can do that. I don't know if he can actually come back to Detroit. That's all not clear yet. We do know he will be tethered in Atlanta. I would imagine, my conjecture, it's just like Michael Cohen, who was released under house arrest. But you gotta remember, most of his family's all down in Atlanta now anyway. So that's what's going on. It's the big news. Big Kwame is free. When we come back, we're going to be joined by, actually, no one come back. I'm thinking about the other show. We're going to be joined in a few minutes by Nicole Small, Charter Commissioner. She's going to explain to us something that's going on under the cover of night, under the cover of COVID-19 to the Charter Commission. It's pretty interesting, and you wouldn't believe that moves like this could actually be made, or somebody would even be trying these type of moves during this pandemic. So hang out for a minute. We're going to be joined by Nicole Small in just a minute. Hey, you all, we're joined by Nicole Small, Charter Commissioner Nicole Small. She was ostensibly supposed to come on to talk about this stuff that's happening under the cover of night in Detroit to the Charter Commission, but we got to cover the news of the day before it happens. Nicole, welcome. And they have freed the big guy. Kwame Kilpatrick is free, sort of.
About time, though, long overdue.
But he's Michael Cohen type free, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm told that this was a Bureau of Prisons move, not a Trump move. This was to ease overcrowding, you know, COVID-19, and they're releasing nonviolent criminals.
Mm-hmm.
I'm told that he was driven to Atlanta by a family member, and in Atlanta he will be quarantined, you know, to make sure he doesn't have COVID-19, and then he will be placed on tether. I'm also told that he is still liable for restitution, but yet and still, the young man is out of prison, which is a good thing.
Yeah, which is really important. I can only imagine, you know, how happy not only his mother, but his kids. So it's time. They released a lot of other people, so I don't see why not, why he shouldn't be released. So I'm happy to hear that. He served enough time.
Does he impact 2021 elections here in Detroit for mayor?
If he chooses to, I believe he can.
Because even if he's on home confinement or a tether or whatever, he still has free use of the internet now, okay,
Yes.
which he did not have inside behind prison walls. And as you can attest, the internet is a positive tool when it comes to campaigning.
I could see him doing a podcast.
Mhm.
I can easily see him doing a podcast. I don't know what that will look like with him traveling to Detroit. That'll be interesting to see. But I could see him doing a podcast. If he so chooses, I can definitely see him having some influence. Considering what's going on in the city now, to just know that he potentially could have served a full 28 years of his life, and the corruption and the collusion that we see taking place under this current administration, I mean, it just goes unaddressed.
Well, to my knowledge, he actually is not coming back to Detroit. From what I've heard, he's going to be there in Atlanta. But I have not totally confirmed that part. But still, he can do a podcast and be everywhere all at the same time, and make a very huge impact on Detroit's election. And I know you have your statements and your thoughts about the corruption that's going on now. And there's a lot of interesting stuff that's going on. I was not aware of the issue you woke me up to. And that is the defunding, essentially, of the Detroit Charter Commission. Can you tell our viewers about the defunding of the Detroit Charter Commission?
Yes. So just to give a brief background on our budget, 2018, when we were elected, it was the consensus of the majority of the commission that our request, our budget proposal for funding would be the largest for 2021. And the reason for that is because we want to ensure that we actually educate the community, and it's so critical that they have input in this revision process. So July 31st, just to let you know, is the last day to submit revisions for the charter. With that said, it's our responsibility, to deliberate and to decide, okay, what should actually be a provision, what's actually the most feasible considering how we have state statutes in place. And then we'll put out our first draft. And it's really important that we receive the feedback from the public on the first draft before sending the final draft to the governor for the governor's approval. And at that time, that's what will actually go on a ballot for the citizens to vote for. With that said, our current budget for the fiscal year, which ends June 30th, is $576,000. I think we have maybe $200,000 left over. Within that budget, we were supposed to have a charter convention, which would have taken up quite a large percentage of what we have remaining for our remaining balance. We still aren't fully staffed. We lost an executive director. We need to replace that executive director. And we have a general counsel right now and a researcher slash admin assistant. With that, those two salaries alone are totaling $180,000 a year. Not a lot of money. Actually, the last general counsel and executive director, actually, they made more with the last charter commission for 2012 than our actual council committee. And so we proposed $1,069,854 was our budget proposal for fiscal year 2021. Scott Benson, he proposed that we.
Councilman.
I'm sorry.
Councilman Scott
Benson. Yeah, he proposed that. That's what you want to call him. He proposed that he proposed a budget of $170,000 for us. Now, just so people understand, historically, the budget has always been funded by the city council. I'm okay with that. But what happens is the Budget and Finance Committee invites the Charter Commission to come, and they kind of negotiate the terms of the budget proposal. Last year, we did have maybe we asked for $600,000, if I'm not mistaken, and they ended up giving us $576,000, which that was okay. They don't always give you exactly what you asked for. And so then from there, from the subcommittee of budget and finance, it goes to the committee of the whole for final approval. Well, Scott Benson isn't on the Budget and Finance Subcommittee for City Council at all. So it was a little strange to see him be charged with the task to actually propose a budget for the Charter Commission. And then what we come to find out, what they want to do is strip us of the funding for us to be able to do mailers and to do printing for the public.
Why is
Additionally,
that? Why is
well,
that?
in my
Why would they want to strip you of that ability to do mailers so people like me would know what you're doing?
and
Because I'm
I
not
don't
going to
know why.
sit and join your little Zoom calls.
Well, what's going to happen? I can't say that they gave us a good reason. Scott Benson claims that we need to share in the sacrifice of the city. Well, that's fine, but the rest of the city is only sacrificing 5% of their budget. The Board of Police Commissioners, who also have their own independent attorney, an executive director, and a secretary, they only took a 5% cut, and their budget is 3.2 million. The Board of Water Commissioners had $1.2 million, I believe. They only took a 5% cut, all city departments. But what makes the Charter Commission unique is that we're an independent agency. And so we are not supposed to be under the influence of the executive branch either. It's just that the legislative branch, they're supposed to approve our funding. So what really captured my interest is that Councilman Benson, who's not even on the Budget and Finance Committee, he took it upon himself to go and to negotiate a proposed budget from the mayor's office, which has never happened historically. This is actually the 2018, the current Charter Commission. This is our third budget proposal. It has not happened since we have been elected, of which this mayor has been the sitting mayor the entire time. Our budgets have always just gone through city council. Well, Scott Benson went and negotiated with Tanya Stoudemire to further decrease a proposed budget from the mayor's office, which was $576,000, down to $170,000. Well, unbeknownst to the commission, we didn't even know that the mayor's office had proposed a budget for the Charter Commission, again, because it has never happened. So when we found out that the mayor's office proposed that we take a budget cut of almost 50%, and then Councilman Benson went and further negotiated that we take 84% of a budget cut, down to $170,000. Again, that wouldn't even cover our staff salaries, and we're not even fully staffed, nor would it cover our stipends. Well,
But
according
wait,
to
let's wait. Hold on. Before you go into the minutiae here, let's just go a little bit. Let's go back in time. Mayor Dudley proposed this charter revision commission. Did he not? He okay, so why would he go and try and ostensibly kill it off? Because he proposed it and he did it in a very slick way. Very slick. Nobody knew that it was there. People had very little time to get their petition signatures, to get on the ballot, to be voted on for this thing. Okay, and now he wants to cut it 84% or whatever they want to cut it. It sounds like they want to silence you, Joanna Underwood, and Barbara Winder. That's what it really sounds to me.
Of course, I don't think he ever anticipated, as many people who were on the people's slate actually making it to the committee, because he had, along with some assistants, I mean, they put over $500,000 into the race to ensure that the establishment stakeholders would actually win and be the majority. So now that that has not happened, now that this Charter Commission has really garnered the attention of a lot of residents in the city, he stands to lose some power. And I guess that's a threat to him. But more importantly, the part that I don't understand is how council has allowed the mayor to usurp the power of council. I mean, for him to propose a budget, number two, for corporate counsel Garcia to tell us to terminate our general counsel, which should always remain independent, and to use corporation counsel in place of it. Well, the city charter specifically says that the only clients of corporation counsel are the mayor, the clerk, and the council. So we couldn't use their attorneys anyway. It would be a violation. And no one on council seemed to even address the fact that state statute clearly says that it is the legislative body that is responsible for our funding. It doesn't say and or any other offices as it permits. It just specifically says the legislative body. And it was as if we were speaking a foreign language. It was as if this was the first Detroit Charter Commission to ever be elected. No one addressed it. In fact, several council members and council president also told us that no, it's the mayor who proposes the budget. No one answered my question. Well, if that's the process, why was it never the process in the past? Not only for the 2018 current charter revision, but the previous charters under former Mayor Coleman Young and Mayor Bing. The mayor has never proposed a budget for the Charter Commission.
Mm-hmm. So what's next, Nicole Small?
So we did send a request to the Attorney General for an opinion through Senator Betty Jean Alexander's office. We are definitely looking for some stakeholders to sign on to support us when we go back to council in July, requesting that our funding is reinstated, that they are supportive of that. And if they don't, what's going to happen is that this charter is just going to be written by the commission. Some people will have an opportunity to vet it because it will be online, but it will not be the process or the purpose that it was actually meant to serve. And that's where I struggle. I did not run to write a charter independently with colleagues. I ran to ensure that, while we would lead the way, that the people would actually be included in this process. This is the people's charter.
Okay, I want you to keep us abreast of your actions, in this case, all right? I've got one other thing, if I can just have you for a few more minutes. The starting gun.
Mm-hmm.
The starting gun goes off for the 2021 elections basically in August. Is the People's Slate going to put forth a slate of candidates for city council?
Yes, we are.
You are. Okay. What are you intending to do about the Gabe Leland seat out there?
That's a toss-up. We will have to see who all is running. I haven't confirmed if Commissioner Underwood is running or not. I think that's going to be a very tricky seat. It's going to be, that race is going to be split several different ways. From what I'm hearing, we already have a sitting county commissioner who's considering running. Some other affluent.
Which county commissioner is considering running?
I keep hearing Alicia Bell.
For city council? Why would you step down from being the chair of the of the commission and do that? That doesn't sound right. But so you hear Alicia Bell. We know that we've heard that John Bennett is considering doing it.
Yeah, but he said that last time. So I haven't spoken to John myself, but it's interesting in a race in the district.
Okay. Anything else that the People's Slate is considering doing for next year's city council race?
No, all cities. All cities, Club 6, District 1, 2, 3, 4 is leeway, District 7, and then that large seat.
Well, I don't know what you're going to do about District 3. Scott Benson has gone along, basically unchallenged in the past. I don't know how that's going to happen. And I think challenges are necessary. True challenges are necessary in order to ensure proper performance. I really, really do. So I'll be very interested.
We need someone who's going to work hard. We need someone who's going to work hard in that district. It's not a lot of votes to get, but you need someone who's going to work hard and actually can garner the support and the attention and the trust of the people. But he's done enough where we can definitely show he has not supported the interests of the people. There are a few people over there that I know that I mean, I guess he gives a few chicken wings and hot dogs too. I really don't care. So they pay city taxes for it. But he needs to go. He needs to go.
Okay. Nicole Small, last question. How are you going to pull off a citywide race? I know you and Joanna Underwood did it before, but how would you actually pull off a citywide race for those citywide seats? I mean, Janae Ayers has proven very powerful.
No, Janae Ayers is no one really wants to guard against her, can't get her out. She's not well known across the city, and she too has never voted to support the interests of people. This is about educating people. I'm not worried about it at all. She's not a tough candidate to win. 9 times out of 10, when a lot of people see her in the community, there are a lot of even seniors who don't even know who she is. But we have a report card coming out, and I want to see each and every one of them. I want to see them refute on the report card about how they have voted. The truth is going to come out, and people will see how they voted in their interest.
Okay. Nicole Small, I want to thank you for joining us. You've been awesome and eye-opening as usual. And please keep us informed about the darn Charter Commission. All right? Please do that.
We'll give you an update after we go to council in July.
All right. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. And remember, if you want to support this, $ Steve Hood Show. Cash App us, $ Steve Hood Show. We need your help. And we're out. I have to do that. I have to do that move because I'm an idiot.